And we are recording.
Booyah!
And listeners ahead of time, and my voice sounds kind of cool under the circumstances, but I'm feeling kind of sick, a little under the weather. If you were to ask me, it's probably from sleeping next to a sick Julie for the last 6 days. If you were to ask her, it's because I spent 38 seconds outside during the smoke scare the other day. I'll let you decide.
I'm sorry, can you take that dick out your mouth when you talk to me? I think you suck in too much
There
dick.
we go. Sorry about that.
Look, maybe that's why you sound funny. You open your mouth and all I can hear is
All right, we're going to do this in 3, 2, 1.
What are you doing?
Testes in my mouth.
Get on the ground, you fucking pledge!
Ew.
Welcome to the greatest podcast experience of your life. This is the FratChat Podcast.
All young men like three things. Food, booze, pussy.
Featuring Carlos Garcia and Chris Moore.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting time. It's the FratChat Podcast. I'm Carlos Garcia with Chris Moore. How's it going, Mr. Moore?
I'm a little hungover, but I mean, what else is new? How about you?
Living the dream, and it's the sickness here.
Do you have a fever?
No, not fever, but my throat really hurts. I feel kind of icky all around, and a lot of phlegm coming out of me.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
You should
It's
spit
like
it
a
all
reverse cum shot.
You should spit it all into a jar and hold it and then regift it.
Yeah, give it to Julie.
Yeah.
This is what we made together.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a deathly coughing fit in the middle of me talking, I'm going to try to lower my volume. But no, sometimes I might not get there fast enough. So
You know, that smoke was crazy.
yeah, that shit was wild.
Thanks, Canada.
South Park's been telling us to blame Canada since 1999, and we didn't listen. So technically, that's on us. Yeah, that was nuts. I literally went out there for 38 seconds to pick up a burrito. That is, well, maybe like a minute and a half. It's literally a block that way. Ran out the door, ran to the thing, got my burrito, came back, and the whole time, it literally just smelled like a fucking like backyard barbecue.
Yeah.
Or something. Like it was weird. It was wild.
It smelled like a bonfire, and then all your clothes stink too, you know?
Yeah. And literally, like, I mean, normally in here, in this side where I record, I have to have a light on because it's in the dark. But like my master bedroom side of the apartment, I don't need to turn our light on in there at all till like maybe like 6 o'clock every day. Because the sun just comes right in. Don't need light. Literally, it was pitch black by like 1 p.m. those couple of days. And it was so eerie. It was like some apocalypse shit. You know what I mean? Like, shouldn't be that dark at 1 p.m. So, weird.
That is super creepy. It's like you were living on Mars.
Well, they say if you believe that the dinosaurs were killed by an asteroid, which I do, I think it was Jesus or the spaghetti monster. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or the flat earthers, maybe they walked off. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know what y'all believe. But you can apparently they say that asteroid hits a specific spot. Some of them died because they were in the radius, but the rest died because the environment changed. Literally all that fire that created made the sky fucking black, like worldwide. And then, you know, no rain. It was all like acid rain, I guess. It was, you know, nothing to eat. So all the big ones started to die off too. And then slowly but surely, everything just kind of died off. So it's like seeing that small representation of that, I can totally see what happened now. So that was kind of fucking eerie. Not gonna lie. But luckily, we survived.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad.
I think there's some dinosaurs that still exist.
Like what?
Well, there's that like monster in the UK, the Loch Ness Monster.
The Loch Ness Monster is not really there. they actually think this is just a. They actually think that what they've been looking at is an upside down whale, and its penis sticking out of the water. The penis is what's breaching. Whales have giant dicks and they curl. You should look up a whale.
Are
man.
you fucking serious?
I swear to God. So that's what they think they've been photographing all along. You see this giant shape underwater and like a giant like lumpy hump thing sticking out. Oh my God, it's a Loch Ness monster. No, that's a prime A fucking whale dick.
That is such a breach of privacy. Now I feel really bad for that whale.
To be fair, the whale is kind of Louis C.K.ing itself. It's like, don't act like you're not impressed, like swimming around.
Is Louis C.K. impressed by his ween? I've met him several times. I've never seen any sort of like impressive bulge coming from his pants.
I hope you didn't shake his hand.
Oh.
I give him one of these. Don't give me some bow, Louis. I respect your hustle, but here's some bow.
Yuck. Well, I also think that we as humans have only kind of like scratched the tip of underwater life.
Yeah, that's why the whale brought it out of the water.
Just the tip. That's bad phrasing on my part. But I feel like scratched the surface is what scratch the surface is what I meant. We barely scratched the surface of what exists millions of miles beneath.
Well, that's true. Well, I don't know if there's millions of miles beneath the water. It's definitely thousands of them, but they definitely haven't explored like 63% of the ocean. So,
that's
and there's giant squid
percentage, 63.45% to be exact.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Thank you.
That's a lot. And they have found giant squid already, which means something eats that giant squid.
I think that there are things that have existed the whole time, like single-cell organisms and worms and fish and things that have probably existed billions of years ago and still exist now. And so part of me is like, if they are still around, it's not that far-fetched to think that there might be a sporadic dinosaur here and there.
I could see a megalodon or something like that.
Yeah.
Because that would swim deep in the deep in the sea where there's no way we've gotten there yet. But that's not a shark I would want to discover. Those things are fucking like 65 feet. They could eat a great white shark whole in one bite.
I also think that there just might be a mermaid too.
Oh, yeah?
Why not?
I don't know, because some redneck would try to find it and fuck it by now.
I don't even know where the hole
is. That would happen.
Where do they even stick it in?
Well, she's got a mouth, right?
Valid.
That's why they call them the throat goats.
The throat goats.
Ariel, the throat goat.
Man.
Oh shit. So actually I got some good news over the weekend that I think is good that I share. I'm going to be making my return to beautiful California in August because Papa got accepted to the Burbank Comedy Festival.
Oh, cool.
So keeping an eye out, California. I'll be in the Burbank area the week of, I think it's August 12th through the 17th, but more details are coming. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Congrats, dude.
Thanks, buddy. It's going to be good times. Bring the gigs. I love going to the West Coast. Had a blast there. And Flappers is a great place to perform. That's where I'll be. That's where I was last time I was there, actually. So, good stuff. Yeah, I'm excited. Good stuff. Wow, I do like my sick voice. Hello.
The sick voice is a little sexy.
I'm all for it. I might have Julie just cough in my face every day.
Yeah. Hey, Julie, can you spit in my coffee before I go to work? Thanks, babe.
You'll feel awful, but you will sound like this. Oh, yeah.
I was just thinking earlier today, and I bet you Julie can relate. I mentioned this on stage before, but whenever I'm in the shower, the last thing I do is I swipe up my butt crack because when I'm washing my hair, a lot of hair, we all lose so much hair every day. And it all kind of like falls on my back and congregates in my butt crack. And I bet you Julie would agree with this. She'd say, yeah, like this, I don't know why. It's like always like a wad of hair in your butt crack. I was thinking today, I was expecting said hair in my butt crack. And I thought, why doesn't my gray hair ever fall out? Because in the mirror, I'm always plucking out gray hair. And I'm like, these stubborn fucking gray hairs are lodged in my scalp forever. You know, I don't know why there's ever any gray hair in the mix of my wad of hair in the butt crack. It's really frustrating to me.
Ooh, maybe that means the gray hair
It's here to
is
stay.
starting to become the dominant hair.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Does that ever happen to you?
Top. Well, I don't really get it on top anymore, but like I haven't seen a gray hair in my head forever. But I'm getting a little gray in my beard. See where there.
Nice.
There.
You know, they have
kinda
these
like
things. Like Osmaria has this stuff that you like mix these two things together and get a little brush and you can hold on to it for a while. It's like, I don't know if it's something.
Oh yeah, like the Just for Man thing.
Yeah, that's it. But it's like a little brush for the beard. He just brushes
I
it
used to get that
on.
from my dad.
5 minutes and then he just washes it off and it works. It's pretty
Honestly,
cool.
I'll probably do it if I get like a particular role where doesn't benefit me to have the gray hair, but I kind of like it. It gives me like a Liam Neeson feel to me.
Nice.
I have a particular set of skills that involve licking your ass. Wait, what?
Nice. I just hope that the said ass doesn't have a lot of hair in it after the shower, because that'd be pretty gross.
I will find you and I will lick you, so you better
What?
clean your asshole.
What's it? Is this a bird nest? Huh. Interesting.
Is that a quarter? What the fuck? How did I get in here?
So I'm a little hungover because it was my husband's birthday on Friday. My sister's birthday was on Saturday. And so we did like a joint and my birthday was last week. So we kind of did a huge birthday bash and got smashed. And I got, Osmaria can't go to Brazil at the moment. We're waiting for paperwork so that he can travel, because if he leaves the country, he can't come back.
Baby.
Right? I threaten him with that all the time. I'm like, I will call him if you don't wash his fucking dishes. No, so we decorated the whole house with like Brazilian flags, and I had all the ingredients for a caipirinha. Have you had that before? It's like, this is liquor called cachaça, and you put lime and sugar in it, and like you muddle it, some ice and this liquor. It's really strong, but it's a Brazilian treat. It kind of tastes like if you were to mix a mojito and a margarita. It's like that's what you have.
It's cool.
Really yummy, but we tried our best, and we're flying the Brazilian flag on our flagpole, and I've noticed a lot of neighbors have been looking at it like, what is that? And I'm like, that's so funny. In like white suburban America, like people, they don't recognize any other flags. And I was thinking to myself, like, I do know that flag. I know what the Mexican flag looks like, but if you showed me the Venezuelan flag, I wouldn't be able to pick it out of the lineup. I don't know any flags. I'm making fun of the neighbors. I'm like, they're so uncultured. And I'm like, I actually don't know any flags. I know the British one, and that's it.
Well, to be fair, Venezuela was at one point, because Simon Bolivar, the guy that freed Venezuela, as we call him, the liberator, was very into the U.S. So our Independence Day is July 5th, and he was going for July 4th, but he just couldn't get it done in time, just so he could match his hero, Washington. But he originally created what was called Great Colombia, essentially. And Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, and something else were part of it. And so all of our flags are essentially very similar. They're yellow, blue, and red, but Venezuela has a couple stars on it from its provinces. Colombia doesn't have anything, and then Ecuador has like a shield on it. So it's like, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't know my flag. But if you know the Colombian flag, it's very similar to that.
Okay, so I just learned this. So we're from Maryland, sort of. I mean, you're from Venezuela. But we have roots in Maryland.
I lived in Maryland. Yeah, I lived for like 10 years. I can count it.
And in Maryland, they have the Maryland flag all over the place. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think part of the flag is like Lord Baltimore's shield, perhaps. And the other part of the flag, I think, is it represents Maryland being part of the Confederacy. So it's kind of got like the white supremacy roots. And I was looking at that, I was like, oh shit, I need to get rid of all my my Maryland flag undies and socks and memorabilia.
To be fair, if it's Lord Baltimore, sounds gay as fuck. So it is part pride flag. If it is Lord Baltimore sheer, he sounds like he sounds like he put on leather chaps and takes a pegging every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, it's me, Lord Baltimore. I'm here for my 12 o'clock pegging.
And then you
Right
finish
this
it
way,
off.
Lord Baltimore.
And then you finish off with a little bit of tea, and then maybe some
Yes.
porridge. You got a little porridge right here.
Oh, that's not porridge, believe me. Oh, Lord Baltimore, you're creeping us all out. But damn it, he's a great warrior.
Right? We have a big show this weekend, right?
Not this week, next week. Greatest Combination show.
Oh, it's the
of all
23rd.
time. Yes, the 23rd, as Lord Baltimore would say. That's June 23rd, 7:15 p.m. Greatest comedy show coming to Broadway Comedy Club, my friend.
That's
We got
Pride
stacked
weekend.
lineup.
Actually, my mom will be in town. I'll bring my mom.
Oh, nice. You better come laughing, or else we're gonna.
I'm gonna have to change my jokes around. She might get offended.
She'll be fine. But we have a stacked lineup. We got Alan Mitra headlining. You've seen him on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Last Comic Standing. You've seen him on Conan. We got Carol Zoccoli, Comedy Central. Kenny
love her.
Circa from Netflix. We got myself, Mr. Mo. We got Ron Prandamano hosting this bitch. We got Jill Gonzalez from NBC in the house. It's going to be awesome. So go to tiny.cc/greatest comedy show and get them tickets now and use promo code FratChat to save 15% on them bad boys. Do it. Tiny.cc/greatest comedy show. Do it.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a good call. Good call, Mr.
I've been having these dreams lately. That a couple things. Like I go on stage and I forget all the punchlines. I'm just kind of like, and I'm like, that's horrifying. I mean, some people have dreams that are like legit scary. I have dreams that I'm like, I'm in college and I haven't checked my email in a long time, and I don't know if I have enough credits to graduate, or I I haven't been attending this class. I forgot about this class. It's the end of the semester, and I've only went to the class one time. I'm going to fail that class. I have all these like weird dreams about that.
Dude,
What do you think that
Julie
means?
has been having weird dreams about schoolwork and shit too.
Yeah.
And she was just telling me about this like yesterday or 2 days ago. I forget. She was just, it's like, but then she said midway through the dream, she like realized that she had graduated, but then she still had to like do the assignment. I think it's like, wait, what? So it was weird. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is around the time people graduate. My graduation was June 6th, 2006. So that just passed.
Mhm.
So I've been having some school dreams about that shit, but not like you guys. You know, because I wasn't a loser. I got my homework done in time. So
I think I got my homework done. My homework is normally just performances to memorize the lines. If in theater, you cry on cue, you're good to go.
It's like, so you see most lines where he did not touch me there, officer.
Yeah.
Remember what I said. You want to graduate, Simo?
Well, speaking of scary things, what is on the agenda today?
Well, before we get there, I have a crazy news story that's going to lead right to today's agenda. Have you seen the viral clip of the Russian tourist that was eaten by a tiger shark?
Ugh, that's so scary.
It is fucking awful.
Where was it exactly?
It happened in Egypt.
Oh, right. Egypt.
And now here's the thing. The dude was swimming off of one of the waters by one of the Egypt's Red Sea resorts. And the thing is, the water was really murky, which you don't fucking do, because sharks can't see that well. He was swimming by himself, which again, you don't want to do, because that's more likely to get you attacked. And it was around dusk. So, Or dusk is when it's later in the day, right? Or is that morning?
From
It's later in the day.
yeah, dawn is earlier.
Yeah. Dusk. That's when the sharks come to hunt.
Oh,
They
really?
get, they get hungry.
I missed
They
that
wanna look
memo.
for, as it gets, starts getting later. There's little fish are swimming out there. There's humans to fuck up your shit. So that's when they hunt. So he committed the trifecta of dumb things to do to get yourself attacked by a shark. But this clip is fucking horrible, dude. The dude is like swimming there, and he's like, I mean, it's only like 35 seconds that you see this, and the camera lady, even though she's horrified, you can see her screaming like, "Oh my god!" is like holding on to that camera pretty well. But the dude, he like gets nudged or something, so he like starts screaming for the shark, but then the shark like grabs him, and he kind of like, it's honestly similar to an Ace Ventura Pet Detective, that whole shark scene where he's like, ah, it's kind of like that. He's getting like mulled around. Then the shark tries to take him down. The dude tries to like come up, and he's like screaming at the shore for help. Then the shark literally like lets him go, and he kind of like loops around, and the guy's trying to like, I guess like kind of paddle over and screaming again for help, but he doesn't see that the shark comes back and grabs him by the arm again, and then literally like you see him come up for air one more time, but then the shark just takes him under, and then a boat showed up, and then the clip ended. Meanwhile, and this is the fucking worst part that kind of makes it even more horrifying, the goddamn song "Stand By Me" is playing in the background, the speakers or wherever this lady's filming from, super loudly. So you know this guy is hearing the song, and he's dying to like the little solo and "Stand By Me," the dee, 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 which is one of the nicest songs ever. And meanwhile, this guy's like, like fighting for his fucking life. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. If you believe in shark justice, and no, this guy, I'm not saying he deserved it, because no one deserves
No.
it, shark, but he really like, it is the shark's goddamn domain, and he put himself in the worst way possible there. Worst time, literally worst look at the water, everything. He really caused
And
that.
he's
But
swimming so far from shore too, you know?
yeah, even though some sharks can be very close to shore, I've seen a lot of clips of them being right there, so you never know exactly. You're in their domain, but you can, be in clear water. You cannot be by yourself. You cannot be in their hunting times at their hunting ground. That will definitely increase your chances. But the thing about it is, God damn it, what was I going to say? You got me.
Sorry. What? Was it Mediterranean Sea or Red Sea?
Red Sea. It was the Red Sea.
See, I would never have thought that there was sharks in the Red Sea.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, I honestly don't know enough about where they go, but they travel around so much. Oh yes, I remember what I was gonna say. If you believe in shark justice, this boat comes in, right, and then they caught the shark. This you don't see in the video, but the shark was still feeding on the guy when a boat got there. So then they shot it with a spear gun, I believe it was, and then they netted the shark. It was like a big fucking shark, and then they beat it to death. They literally beat it, including the guy's dad, who was there. He was like, "Fuck you, shark! You killed my son!" And that's how the story ended.
Because I thought I saw a clip where they were like, we can't find any remnants of him, like he's gone forever.
Yeah, and
They're
there's
looking
no
for
way they're gonna find. The shark had gotten a lot of him. Like it was still, like I said, it was still feeding on him. And that water's so murky that like, it's gone. You're not gonna be able to
so
see it
scary.
there.
Now, for me,
I'm not gonna dive in there.
it looked like a scene from Jaws. Because for me, the scariest part of the video was when the water turned red.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
because if you take a little drop of food coloring into the sea, it's not gonna make a difference. There had to be a lot of blood there to make that water,
especially
turn
that murky
so
ass
red.
water.
Oh my gosh, so scary.
Yeah. So that is awful, which leads us into what we're going to talk about today, Mr. Mel, because we're going to talk about the worst ways to die. I know it's a little morbid, you guys, but seeing stories like this makes us know that we're lucky to still be around, and hopefully we don't go out in these ways. Hopefully these sharing this list will also share some tips to keep yourself away from situations like this. But also, we're going to travel back in time a little bit and give you a couple that, hopefully are not around today, but we're big, scary ones back in the day. So that'll make you glad that you did not live in the medieval times. So let me tell you, that shit was scary. So let's get scary, Mr. Mo. This is the worst ways to die.
Is this a scary list?
That was pretty scary, right?
Yeah.
should I have done more emphasis on the laugh? That's scarier. I think that. Yeah. I feel something coming up here. Might be a little phlegm.
Might be one of them dicks again. Might be a huge whale dick.
That's
the
right.
size of a dinosaur.
They call it the Loch Ness Monster.
Do you want to go first?
Mm-hmm. So we got to start naturally as the top 10. The worst way to go. Getting eaten by a fucking shark. That sucks. That clip was the worst thing I've ever seen. And I'm going to go with add a parenthesis in there or a slash and say alligator as well, because it's very similar ways to go. The only difference is that sharks, when they bite you, they move their teeth, their mouth side to side like this, so they can shred with their teeth and slice you off. Meanwhile, an alligator will grab like a limb, and then they'll do their death roll, so they can sever it, and they basically rip off your arm. And then they eat it, and then you're gonna bleed out in both cases, but they're a little bit different, and they both drown you and eat you. The thought of getting eaten by a massive fucking creature is already scary enough, but imagine all those teeth are like fucking knives, so it's like being stabbed like 26 times simultaneously over and over and over again until you're gone, and you're in their domain, so you can't move that fast. They're faster, stronger, bigger than you. You're screwed.
If they bite into one artery, you're gonna bleed out in minutes.
They're screwed. And yeah, sometimes even in seconds. And they say like, oh, well, you can put your hand on the shark and guide it. Get the fuck out of here. That shark is hungry and coming for you, and it gets a bite on you. You're not gonna be able to navigate it away. You gotta fight for your life. You're screwed. So best thing you can do, just don't put yourself in their territories. Stay close to shore. Don't swim.
In Louisiana, they do these like swamp tours. I think, why on earth would it's always white people? Like, why do white people love so much to put themselves in the middle of danger? I've seen people get in cages and then go underwater.
Summer
and
is
like
coming.
see sharks.
Are you ready to unveil your beach bod?
Why not go
here to ensure your body is ready for the wild with their game-changing full body grooming and hygiene products. Actually, be the guy at the beach with Austin Powers chest hair, baby. And if you grew some winter man teeth, the least you can do is make sure they're hairless.
Taliban. The ladies love those hairless tits.
He went to the Taliban.
It's time to get ready for hot guy summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code FratChat.
That literally has happened, which is ridiculous.
That is so frustrating to me.
It's so stupid. Yeah, I would never swim in a shark cage. I've literally seen videos where the shark like tries to jump in the cage, which is ugh. And you're in their cage, like you're literally in a lunchbox for them. Like that is not the most efficient way to do this. Like really, there has to be something better than a fucking cage where you're just like there for them to crush. I don't know. That's just me. So I don't deal with sharks are one of my biggest fears. So I stay away from that shit. But alligators too. They're both big ambush animals. You don't know they're there. All of a sudden, whack! They fucking get you.
Hell the fuck no. Not interesting.
I stay away from swamps. I get my tan on the beach, then go to the shore and do this little wash off thing. waist deep water at most, so I can see. I go back in. So I recommend you do that too, yo. And after COVID, the sea has rehabilitated itself a lot because there was less human activity. So there are more chances of increased contact with fish. And when there's just fish, there's things that eat those fish. So just saying.
Ooh,
Be mindful of where you're at.
I
don't want
don't
to demonize sharks.
like it.
They're hungry. They got to eat something. And if you're there and they nibble on you to check you out, even if they decide they don't like you and you survive, that's like a chunk of your thigh already missing. Because a little taste nibble for them is pretty big shit. So that's number 10 right there.
All
what
right.
you got, Mo?
My first one is, I'll go with, okay. If something were to take my life unexpectedly, I would hope that my friends and family would avenge my death. You know what I mean? So like, I can't imagine like having a loved one be like taken and never know what happened and never know if they've survived or never have any answers. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I've seen a couple of cases where an icicle has impaled someone, but then by the time that it's like it's discovered, there's no evidence because the ice melts. And I think about that because I'm like, when I first moved to New York, I remember like some big hunk of ice fell off of a building on Fifth Avenue and hit this woman and knocked her flat out. And I thought, oh my God, like we have to look out for so many things. It's not a safe world, but icicles, and then like, and then so you just have someone like on the ground bleeding out, and you have no idea what happened. It's like I found your kid.
Two sets of isos Mario has to be scared of.
Yeah. But I think to myself, you're just laid on the ground bleeding out and like everyone's like, what happened? They were stabbed? I don't know. Did anybody are there footprints? No. Is there any DNA? No. It's like, I can't explain this. I would just hate to go out that way.
Ugh, yeah. And
it's the things that you don't think about that happens, you know?
Especially like, I mean, there's ways to go. Like, for example, maybe if you're walking down the street and maybe the icicle hits you right in the top of the head. You don't know it's coming. You're having the nicest thought in your life at the moment. But maybe it's not so bad. But let's say like you get some Final Destination type way to go about this, where you're like walking, all of a sudden you hear like a and then you look up and then the fucking thing falls and it goes right through your eye. You're like, oh yeah, that'd be bad.
That's so scary to me. So whenever it's like snowing and it's cold and there's ice everywhere, I don't like walking by big buildings. I don't like and if I see a lot of icicles hanging off of like someone's like roof or siding or whatnot, like I just don't go near it. It's scary to me.
Yeah, I try to knock them over because that is scary. Damn. Can you imagine going to death by ice? Oof.
Sub-Zero strikes again. What's next on your list?
Fatality. Fatality. Finish him. Whoopsie. So up next on my list, I'm gonna go with one that actually I'm gonna piggyback off of you and say getting impaled, which I used to know of one method of impalement. I mean, when you're impaled, basically this is, a stake is driven through you. And I had heard of Vlad the Impaler, who was a Hungarian dictator that Count Dracula is based on. And he would impale people by literally laying them down flat on the ground. And then he would basically there would be this giant stake here. And he would basically lay them flat, get them flat through the stake. So it would go around the vital organs. And the stake was just too big for them to pull themselves up. And then they would slowly bleed out while they begged for
Would they put the stake up their butthole?
That the Vlad the Impaler way, no. That was sideways, laying down, essentially like through your belly.
Okay.
So you couldn't get out. But as I was researching this, I did find a way where it was through your butthole, like you just said. And essentially, what they would do there is like use like a giant razor blade thing and slice their asshole and then stop the bleeding with this like paste thing that they made.
Oh, and the sound of you had to do the sound effects.
You know, this is a sound podcast, so this is trying to top that audible. True crime podcast, top the booty sound effect. So they stop the bleeding, and then they have this giant thick steak that is very sharp on one end, but they essentially lube it up as well. And then they would stick it up the person's ass. And as long as they go essentially along the spine, and if they did it carefully enough, they would avoid hitting organs, and the person would survive sometimes for 6 to 8 days. And then the thing could even come out of their like throat, like, and they'd just be stuck there, like begging to fucking die. And there's a lot of anecdotes of people who were just literally like walking, people would walk by them and stuff. It was usually done in public as a public execution to kind of be like, don't fuck with us, or this happens to you. And they would be like, please kill me, God. And if they were lucky, they would just not do it so well, so they would die in seconds. But woo, I can't imagine going like that. Neither the Vlad way, because even there, you're just like laying there, bleeding out. The crows probably start to come to feed on you while you're still alive, and then you just like starve to death essentially, or die of thirst with a fucking stake through you. Or the other one where the beginning is that just the beginning part sounds off. So the slicing of the ass and then the cauterizing with the paste, that already is like too much. And then, ugh. So yeah.
I bet there's a bunch of sick fucks that do that for fun. Because I went to this like the International Male Leather or Mr. Leather, and after the beauty pageant for all these like big hairy gay guys, they had this like beauty pageant, and afterwards every suite at this hotel was like a different fetish, and some people were doing like sounding where they stick these rods in their pee hole and they get electrocuted from like the inside out, and they were like begging for more and more and more. I bet you there's some sick fucks that are like, put this stick up my butthole and let's see how far you can get it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm sure.
Slice my asshole and cauterize the blood with butter.
Yeah. People are crazy.
Oh, that's awful, dude.
That's why we need more therapy. They should make psychiatric evaluations mandatory for school. Okay, so my next one is, inspired by an article I saw just recently. This man got struck by lightning twice, like within moments. But I think to myself, getting struck by lightning is so scary. Like God hates you.
Yeah. And that guy survived though, right?
Yeah. He walked away. I mean, he kind of like stumbled away. Like,
yeah.
I think to myself, like, that's so scary because, there's so much things to look out for, and there's so many scary things in the world, but you don't think about like natural phenomena, So
that's true. And lightning can really come out of nowhere. Like it can be a sunny day, you're just walking down the street, and all of a sudden, like a random lightning just hits.
So I'm in my grandma's house right now, which my parents now own. So my grandma passed, my mom moved into her house, and this exact house got struck by lightning years ago, and no one was home, and it just hit the siding, and the side of the house was like in flames, engulfed in flames. Neighbors called it in, and I thought, that's so scary. Like Like, who knew that like the sky can do so much damage? So I'm thinking
Dude.
I'm thinking lightning, I'm thinking hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, all that natural shit scares the fuck out of me.
This is wild because I don't know that lightning could travel inside, but I just think that where I was at had a shitty facade. But I was in a movie theater with my dad in Orlando, Florida, and I think we were watching actually Inglorious Bastards. And we went at like an early show, so it was just me and him and like maybe 3 other people in the theater. And I shit you not, this crazy huge lightning bolt went in. It like went inside, and we saw it hit like a seat in the middle of the fucking theater, and that was it. Nothing else happened. They do say lightning is rarely strikes the same place twice, so we didn't feel so. But it was like, damn, what are these ceilings made of? Because it's like those like shitty panelings, you know what I mean? And I think it just went right through it.
I think what really happened was that you had some massive gas by eating too much butter popcorn and try to blame Mother Nature.
God!
Explosions!
I can't hold it! My dad's
Carlos,
like,
what happened?
"Whoa."
Lightning?
Oh.
Yeah. Some people have lived to tell the tale, and they've been in therapy ever since.
Dad, run away. Wait a minute. Run away, Dad. Oh, man. So, yeah, stuck by lightning would be awful. This other one, I guess you would also die because of nature, but I think it would be the lack of nature. It would be getting stuck in the desert and dying there. Because, I mean, this is me. When you're in the jungle, sure, there's all these scary things that are there, but at least there's like, nature. You can try, via trial error, if you know what you're doing, to eat stuff. And if you don't fucking die off it, you at least have food. But you're in the desert, there's nothing. Just the hot sun beating on you. And the only thing you have at your disposal, and that's if you had some water before you're stuck there, is your first round of pee. That's like, you can drink that.
Ew.
But that's all you got. You're not going to find anything to eat. There's just going to be sun, hotness everywhere. And you're so hot, you want to take your shirt off, but you can't because it'll burn your skin. And the sun slowly beats your ass. And then at nighttime, it's freezing cold because you're in the fucking desert. And there's the things like scorpions and shit that pop out of the sand. And you're thirsty as fuck and you're hungry as shit. And then you eventually start to hallucinate. Oh, that and being stuck at sea. Oh, yeah, also at parentheses because you're surrounded by water, but you can't drink it. You're beat. You're just beat. You're at the mercy of someone finding you.
Being a 90s kid, I feel like there's always an episode of like most sitcoms where people were stuck like at a deserted island or the desert or something. And I feel like there's always moments of quicksand. I'm not sure if that's desert or that's jungle, but I feel like there's always quicksand. There was always a moment where like someone was stuck in the desert and they saw a mirage. And like, I don't think kids these days know what a mirage is because it's not as featured in shows now. Like every kid that we knew exactly what that word meant because every TV show had that,
It's like, oh my God, it's a McDonald's in the middle of the desert? No way.
They run for it and they're like immediately disappointed.
And it's just sand.
And then they're like chomping on a cactus. Oh, why?
Yeah, mirages were so common in 90s cartoons. What happened to them? Bring them back. They were kind of funny.
Okay, so my next one is I'm pretty easygoing. There's only a few things in life that I really just abhor, and I hate the MTA. And there's been so many cases, people getting pushed onto the tracks and getting hit by trains. And I think to myself, if I'm taken out by the thing that I hate most, what a slap in the face. So I am actually a little nervous sometimes. Like when I'm standing on the tracks, I try not to stand near anyone, but sometimes it's unavoidable. So I try to stand near like one of those like steel structures that like the columns, or I try to stand closer to the benches, or, but I never want to be in the front row closest to the train doors because there's some crazy people out there,
Mm-hmm.
So
For
scary.
sure. When I first moved out here, there was a serial pusher that was going around, and just unsuspecting people were just getting pushed in when the train was coming, and a couple of them died
Yeah.
before they caught this person. So yeah, I always keep my wits around me when I'm at the subway, at the train station. I'm looking around. I'm like, standing firm, brother. But yeah, fuck that, because people are wacky.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then the thing is, like, not only would it suck to get hit by a train in MTA, but in New York City too, where it's disgusting and you're covered by pee and rats and whatever shit is down there. And then on top of that, to add insult to injury, this goddamn train is gonna crush you. Not about it. Maybe if it was at least Long Island Railroad, it's a little cleaner. but not your regular New York City subway. Fuck that. I mean, that's because imagine how this thing would run you over too. It would at that point it's like trying to slow down, you know what I mean? So it'd be like kind of slow, like until it gets like something vital where you die. Ugh. Or maybe you land sideways and it just cuts off your leg and you like bleed out while the train's on top of you.
And in Chicago, they were always like, never touch the third rail or something. Like there was like two. There's like some tracks that the train goes on, but then the third one is electric, and that's if you touch it, you're done. You're electrocuted. Wow. So they say like if any, I don't know if it's the same in New York, but in Chicago, if something fell on the tracks, they're like, forget about it, because I think that's how the trains maneuver in Chicago. That they're always touching that source of electricity, and that's what makes them go. But that's scary to me.
Yeah, fuck that. So be safe out there. Keep your eye out for track pushers. Either New York side chat over here. There's a lot of scary shit. There's right now, if you're in New York, there's a goddamn serial slasher going around slashing people in the subways. Fucking, I just literally read about this morning. They still haven't found the guy, but they do have his picture. But no, you have that to look forward to. So just you gotta always keep your wits about you.
Why is it always men?
I don't know, man.
It's always guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but we need more therapy for men. There's a lot of toxic masculinity, and maybe this is so sad to me. Men are crazy. Losers. Why am I gay? Guys are the worst. Anywho, what's your next one?
Okay, so this next one, got to bring it back to my people. I'm going to go with cartel murders.
Oh, your cousins. How are they? How are they doing?
And I got to say, you guys, these guys don't fuck around. And for some reason, there's been a lot of trends where TikTokers and famous, social media lights, I guess I should call them, try to get the cartel's attention. And then very quickly, when they realize who they're fucking with and they get their attention, they change their tune and they're sitting there apologizing. Like, I'm so sorry. Because you've heard of things like the Colombian necktie, which is a post-mortem mutilation, which a victim's tongue is pulled through a deep cut beneath the jaw and left dangling on the neck.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, really? Or the flower vase cut, where victims' limbs are cut and stuffed into their torso. Or when they would kill pregnant women and they take the fetus out and they put a rooster in there instead. Or when they would cut out people's balls and put them in their mouth and leave them there for them to find. But here's the thing, at least in all these awful things, the person was dead. But this, which I saw a video of on some on Instagram account, I forget the name of the account, so I'll add the link to it in the post for those of you that are psychos and want to follow it. they show this method where they killed this guy, where it was tough to watch. They literally had this guy tied up with his hands behind his back, and he's laying on the ground, and his pants are down. And they literally released 2 dogs on him, and they ripped his fucking nuts off. His dick and balls were literally completely ripped off by these 2 dogs, and they're like Rottweilers. And they're like, "Argh!" And the guy's like screaming, like, "Ah!" And you can literally see him like yanking him off. And he's just like screaming at them, begging for them to just shoot him so the pain will stop. And to be honest, I don't remember the video ended with him getting shot in the head, or if it just ends with him still screaming in pain. And they're like, this is what happens when you, I think he was like he tried to touch girls or something. He was like a rapist. But this is when you try to fuck with us or type thing.
You know, I think diddlers deserve the worst kind of punishment. So I'm okay. I'm okay with that. But I wonder what made the dogs go straight for the nuts. I wonder if maybe they
train them.
They train him. Oh, I just thought they put peanut butter on the dick and was like,
maybe. But yeah, they train him somehow to just go straight for it. I mean, if you look at, I guess if you're a dog and you look at a dude with his pants down, that's gonna be the meatiest looking part, you know.
It resembles a hot dog.
It's like the chicken
or a cocktail wiener if you're not very blessed.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it was cold out there that day.
Yeah.
He was very nervous. That's, it wasn't his best showing.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I mean, these dogs are trained to go for that, but it's like, woo, watching that was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Someone sent it to me too. I was like, "What the fuck would you send me this?"
I couldn't watch that. I was sure.
It was bad. It was bad, dude. So I don't know. It's bad way to go. Number 2 for me. That's just awful. That's just awful.
Well, my next one is anaphylaxis. So I have a peanut allergy, and whenever I've had peanuts in the past, it hasn't been like, I mean, it's scary, but it hasn't been like super scary where like I questioned if I was going to make it. But I just know for me personally, like I break out hives in my face, like my lips swell up, and I just looked like a monster. And if that were to kill me, then we couldn't have an open casket funeral, and that would be upsetting. I already have my outfit planned. So I think that anaphylaxis is so scary because you could be at a restaurant and there could be some cross-contamination. I had an old coworker who had a really severe allergy to like sesame seeds, like just sesame seeds. It's so random. But if she had a sesame seed anywhere near her, maybe they used a knife to cut a bagel and then used the same knife to cut her bagel. She had to use a EpiPen, and then peanut allergies can be pretty severe with kids these days. I don't really know if I believe in the whole gluten allergy thing. I think that there is celiac disease, but I do think that some people are a little bit too gluten focused these days. But just anaphylaxis in general, have you had anyone be allergic to like shellfish?
Yeah,
and they
I actually weirdly had a weird allergic reaction once to lobster, which only happened once.
Really?
No, with shrimp.
Shrimp.
It only happened once, but my ear started swelling.
Really?
I started feeling some tingling. It was so weird. But then after that, it never happened again.
You were slowly morphing into Will Smith, and you were like, "Oh no, I just want to slap somebody!
Keep my wife's name out your mouth."
Exactly.
My ear got all big. I was like, "Welcome to Earth."
Exactly. So yeah, I think anaphylaxis is really scary. I've been to like restaurants and things where I've seen people panic. I even gave my EpiPen to a kid on the plane one time because he had an allergy, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like, I don't want to give up my EpiPen because I need it, but this kid has his whole life ahead of him. Oh, okay, you can have it, but it's scary. It's really scary.
Wow.
It happens so fast too.
Yeah, I actually know someone who had a really bad peanut allergy, that I used to work with. And she literally, someone gave her a cookie and she took a bite of it. And I think the person that gave her the cookie knew she was deadly allergic to peanuts, but the person then took a bite and immediately was like, wait, are there peanuts in this? And the other girl was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. And the girl within seconds was like, I need to call an ambulance, because she went to the bathroom and like started to die essentially. Like, so literally like you said, it happens in seconds, and you can't breathe. You're fucking like,
my tongue swells up,
morphing into a werewolf. It's bad. So, woo, that'd be scary. So wait, you got to carry around a pen, right, or something?
Yeah.
Like a jabby jab.
Ooh, stick it in your thigh.
Oof.
One time, one went off in my hand. One time, when I was younger, and like instantly, I was like, "I feel incredible!" It's just it's like
Is it adrenaline?
Adrenaline, yeah.
Oh shit!
I said, "I feel so strong." My mom was like, "Oh fuck."
Running a marathon with your face all swollen.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that could be a fun PED. Just jab yourself before the big race.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. So
You saved the scariest one for the last.
Yeah, this was terrifying. And this is the one where we're gonna take you back in time, you guys. And this is called the Brazen Bowl, you guys. And this thing is one of the most terrifying creations I've ever seen. It was created by a guy named Perilos of Athens, who was rumored to be a cannibal who devoured infant children. And this fucking bowl was built for the execution of capital crimes. He created it for a ruler named Phalaris. It sounds a lot like phallic.
Yeah.
I think you like dick, but that's just me. But anyways, this bowl was the actual size of a real bowl, and it was made out of metal. So then a person would be put inside the bowl, and there would be a fire set under it, heating the metal that it was made of inside until the person was roasted to death. And here's the thing, there was this device, an acoustic device built in the bowl that would convert the person's screams into the sound of the bowl. So you'd be in there like, oh my God! Ah! And the bowl would be like, roar! And then the smoke from you being roasted in there would come out of the nose. And apparently it would look cool as shit for the crowd. So they loved it. Like, people would sit there and watch these executions and fucking love it. It was like going to a Taylor Swift concert for them. They were like, oh my God, look at the showmanship. How did they do this? Like, what? And then when it was over, they would open up the bowl and they would pull out the remains of the person. And apparently the way that it was essentially broiled in there, the person's remains would be like shiny afterwards, like jewelry. And they would like show it to the crowd, and they'd be like, oh my God, how did Taylor Swift do this? It was the wildest shit ever. And
it sounds like some Indiana Jones shit.
Yeah, right. You go back to it. That's true, actually. He typically finds old civilizations, and they do some crazy kills. Yeah, that would for me be the absolute worst way to go. Just slowly, this fucking bowl, which is already embarrassing enough. You're going in a bowl, starts getting hotter and hotter, and there's nothing you can do. You can't get out. It's made of metal. No one's gonna hear you scream. They're gonna cheer you on too. Like you're dying to a crowd chanting how cool this looks.
Okay, so I didn't do much research on these like old, like medieval techniques, and I'm glad that I didn't, because it would give me more nightmares. That's horrifying.
Yeah, that's like the worst thing ever, I think. I'd rather, I don't know. Between that and the cartel nut death, I still think maybe the nut death might be quicker. I don't know. Either way, I'd definitely rather drown or get eaten by a shark or. I don't know. These are all pretty horrible, though. I don't know. I personally don't want any of these.
Well, the top one on my list is something that's very real and very current right now, and it's a little something called fentanyl. And the way I see it is...
Wait, did you say fentanyl?
Yeah. Scary. And the way I see it is like normally fentanyl is I feel like a lot of coke these days is laced in fentanyl. It's really scary. And coke is normally done at like fun events, so people don't really buy coke and just snort it at home by themselves typically. It's normally a part of a social, events, I guess. I mean, I've never done coke before, but let's say you and Julie get married and you guys have 200 people at your wedding. I would guarantee that at least one person there brought a little dime bag of cocaine. And if you don't know the source of where that coke came from, I mean, you're really gambling with your life and everyone else's lives that might snort that. And so I feel like there's probably a lot of really fun events that are ruined by these fentanyl poisonings. It's scary. Can you imagine? Like,
I actually do know someone who died of it, and they were doing it by themselves. Unfortunately, they had a bit of a problem, and he didn't get the strips. Get the fucking strips.
Yeah,
you can even get them for free a lot of places.
Yep.
So get some strips, dip it in there. It takes like 10 minutes. Find out if shit's clean. He snorted it. He started to feel shitty, and then he was talking to someone. He said, "I'm going to take a nap. If I still feel like this, I'm going to go to the hospital." And he just never woke up.
I know a couple comics too, but it's like, from what I've heard is that they like in a crowd of people just out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's so scary,
And you assume that if someone gives it to you, it's going to be clean, but like you don't know that. So, I mean, unless I see the strip myself or I really trust the source and they tell me they tested it, I don't personally don't trust random people handing me drugs, but especially something like that. So it's not like I fucking like do cocaine on weekends. Like I'm the cocaine master. But I know enough these days where, dude, if you don't know the source of anything, don't trust it. Even weed or anything, you don't know what anything is laced with. So
yeah, that's true.
Be safe, y'all. You got to
stuff.
It's
so scary because it's so common.
Yeah, and literally, like, I mean, I've seen the shark video, but I don't know anybody personally who's getting eaten by a shark. I know personally at least 3 people who have died from fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
So could be anywhere.
And it's what's also, I think to myself, like, this day and age to watch out for school shooters, Taliban terrorism, the slasher on the trains. There's so many scary things, and then now fentanyl is a very real threat, and it's taking a lot of lives.
I'm gonna take the edge off of all these scary slashers with some fresh cocaine and then dies from fentanyl poisoning. Damn it!
So scary. What a morbid episode we had this week.
I know, but on that note, it was so scary. But let us know what you thought of it. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you have to have it? What are some other super scary methods of death that you know about that we might have missed? Because this is another episode, and if you like it, we can revisit. It's very scary shit. I personally wouldn't want to have any of these happen to me, but there's definitely more. So send it over. Give us a follow on all social channels at FratChat Podcast. That's on Instagram. That's on Facebook. That is on Twitter. That is also on YouTube. Give me a follow as well at Carlos Does the World on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube, and Carlos Does World on Twitter. You can follow my good buddy Simo over there at chris.moore.comedy on Instagram, on TikTok, and at Seymour Comedy on the old Twitter machine. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, Mr. Mo, on that note, it's a very morbid episode. Why don't you get us out of here?
I motion to adjourn this meeting so I can crawl back into bed and hide under my covers because everything you said is horrifying.
And I second because I want to ice my nuts because I keep thinking of that cartel dogs coming after them.
Yeah, another reason why I don't want nuts. I don't need them. It's the source of my vulnerability. Why? Why in evolution have they made the most sensitive part of the men's body out on display for dogs to eat? I don't understand.
Well, they give you an impressive bull.
Ooh.
So, we'll be back next week with another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting time. Still with our testicles, the FratChat Podcast. See ya!
Peace.